Hey YouTube, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, here again with another Alesis Nitro mesh video. You guys really love the videos about this thing. Anyway, it's a very cool set, and I like making the videos and playing the set. So what I'm going to do today is actually answer some questions that I hear pretty much all the time, mostly about the rug, the drum riser, the bass drum pedal, and those kind of things, sticks, you know, all these little things that people keep asking me, and I get these questions pretty much every day, so I thought I would just make a quick little video about it. Also, I made some updates to my drum riser. I actually made a video on building this drum riser, and I'll post links down below to all of, actually there's a playlist of all my Alesis Nitro mesh videos, and I'll just post a link to that where you guys can watch all the content that I made about this thing, about how to program it, how to play it, what to do, make it quieter, blah, 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 all that stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna show you what I've done recently, as well as answer some of the most common questions I keep getting. So anyway, here we go. All right, question number one. Can you use a regular double bass drum pedal on the Alesis Nitro mesh? I'm gonna say no. Technically, yes, you can fit one on there, but it just does not work very well. As you can see, this pad is pretty darn narrow. This is a single bass drum pedal. So if you have a double on here, you're hitting basically here and here. And I have actually used mine on here, and in fact, this is a double bass drum pedal. I'm just using half of it, but it doesn't really work very good. So don't even bother. I would suggest either getting a larger kick drum pad or just program your hi-hat pedal to be a second bass drum, which I've made a video about how to do that already, so you can check that out. Also, my pedal itself, what kind is it? What do I use? It's a PDP, I believe it's a 200 series, 500 series, something like that. Wow, that's pretty vague, but if you just search PDP bass drum pedals, you'll find it. It's the one with the dual chain. It's one of the higher end ones that they make, but PDPs are very affordable, and it's basically just like a DW pedal. It's just as good in my opinion. It feels really good. I've had this pedal for many, many years, and it served me well. I'm using it here as opposed to the Alesis one because I actually like the Alesis one on my acoustic drums because it fits in the case. And that's really the main reason. If this one fit in my case, I would probably be using this on my acoustics and using the Alesis one here, but I like the fact that the Alesis one doesn't have a plate, which makes it a little bit, you know, less stable, but it also makes it fold up and fit in my case. So anyway, that's why I'm using that here. Has nothing to do with the feel. Both of them feel fine. All right, now let's talk about my rug and my riser here and what all I've got going on the floor of for my drum set. Now, okay, so first off, the rug. Everybody always asks, what size is the rug? It's 4 feet by 3 feet. You can get them on Amazon. I'll post a link down below. This is just like a I don't know, it's like an industrial mat. It's pretty thin actually, but it does the job. And this up on top is actually a new addition, as well as if you look underneath, well actually, if you never saw the first video where I showed where I was building this thing, let me explain everything here. What you're looking at is actually 2 pieces of particle board with dryer balls. Let me see if I can lift this up enough for you guys to see it. But I don't know if I can do that. Anyway, inside of here, I'll have to post a link to the other video because I'm not going to take it apart. Inside, there are actually, it's suspended on, I think, about 9 half dryer balls. Oh, I know where to show you. Like those, you see that right there? I have them up against the wall. That is what I'm talking about. They're like those things you put in the dryer to keep your clothes soft when you dry them. But I bought them at the dollar store, and I just cut them in half, and I placed them between the 2 pieces of plywood, and then put the rug on top of that. And for a while, that was all I had, and the bottom piece of plywood was on the floor, but I was still getting some complaints from my neighbor, so I stepped it up a notch and went and ordered some of these gym mat puzzle piece things from Amazon. I'll post a link to these too down below if you want. And now I have a full layer of that underneath the first layer of plywood, and then I also have another layer just under the kick drum. So this really absorbs a lot of sound now. As you can tell, that is very quiet. That doesn't really make very much sound at all. In fact, we did a little test where I played, and Victor, my boyfriend, went downstairs and he he didn't go into the apartment, but he stood outside his door and was using a decibel meter, and we checked, and it was lower than like normal conversation. He said he could barely even hear it at all. So if I get complaints from the guy now, I know he's just completely crazy. But anyway, not that people's complaints aren't valid, but he's complained about some pretty insane things before. So I'm not too worried about it anymore. I think I've done my part, and I never play late or anything like that, so I'm not too worried about it. Anyway, let's see, what else? My symbol, additional symbol there, which is actually getting a little bit warpy looking. I'm not sure why, but that's a what is that thing? TC series by Pintech. I believe it's TC series, and it does its job. It works well. Very simple single zone symbol, and they're really cheap, but it works, so I don't have any problems with it. And I think that's pretty much all. Oh, the silent beater. I've talked about that in other videos, but these are by Cat Percussion. They're basically a little tennis ball, and they help. You know, they don't make it totally silent, but they definitely help. Every little thing helps in reducing the sound impact. Oh, and also sticks. Okay, so for my Alesis Nitro mesh, I prefer to use lighter sticks because it's a small set. The pads are pretty little. So I'm using 7As, which are pretty much jazz sticks. Now, normally when I play drums, I use these things, like acoustic drums. These are Aquarian X10, and they're basically like a 5B or a 5... I would say they're closer to a 5B in weight. So they're pretty heavy, and they're synthetic sticks. They're made from a graphite composite material, and I used to use them on this set too, and they work fine. But I found them to be, you know, they're pretty heavy, and there's really no need to bash these drums that hard. So I switched over to a lighter stick on the 7As. And actually, these LA Special 7As, I actually quite like a lot. Actually, I've used them acoustically as well, and they've been serving me well. So just depending on my mood, these definitely sound better on real cymbals than the Aquarian sticks do. That was always my biggest gripe with these things, is they kind of sound more like a nylon tip, which some people like. But personally, I like a wood tip on cymbals, but that's kind of off topic. But anyway, I think that's pretty much everything. All right, so that is the answer to most of the questions that I get all the time, and hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you did, please let me know by commenting down below or subscribing and clicking like. You can also support me by going to my record label, which is anthillrecordings.bandcamp.com. And there you can either purchase some music, you can stream it, or you can become a member of the CDR Club and receive CDRs in the mail every time I release something new. And I make music using all the gear that I use here on this channel, and it's kind of experimental, and like, you know, well, there's a lot of different genres, as well as there's compilations and bands that I release and stuff on there. So anyway, check that out if you get a chance. You can also stream me on pretty much all of the streaming services. You can check the links down below. I've linked them up for Demonic Sweaters, as well as my other solo project, which is called Minnesota. So definitely check those out. And thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see y'all really soon.